How is everyone doing today? I hope you're doing well. Again, looking around because I have things on different screens, different monitors, and so it is a little bit confusing. Danny, David, good to see you, my friends. Hold on one second. I'm getting confused because um, I thought I had YouTube down here, yada yada. All right, cool. So we have David Canham stopping by to say hello. Good to see you, my friend. Danny with Pequot Resellers. Good to see you. As you guys can see, I am definitely in need of a haircut. Jeff Crumpler, hey, this thing even working? First stream spent on with a new phone. Just got your alert. Awesome. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, it's working. I'm gonna take a little sip of this, and then that's gone. That's the end of that coffee. Now we'll hydrate here. Ah, yes. Good to see you all. I know we don't have a lot of people in, but you know what? The fact that you guys chose to spend a little bit of time with me today really blesses me. I really appreciate that. And so I'm excited to see you all. I titled this stream, Why Am I Fat? In case you guys didn't know, my name's Adam, and I'm fat. Not as fat as I used to be, but I'm fat. And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about why am I fat? Let's uncover this. Let's understand this. Let's figure it out. A lot of times people will try and say things like, "Oh, I'm just big boned. I'm not fat. I'm just big boned. I got a thyroid problem." And maybe that's the case. There's my buddy, Mrs. Hartman M.A.D.E. Super love you. Maybe that's the case. Maybe there are. All right, I'm not real excited about this new phone. They're supposed to move all my stuff over to it. It's missing. Oh my goodness. I cannot imagine that. My wife moved from a dumb phone to a smartphone, and she has so much stuff. She used that. She reluctantly moved to a smartphone, by the way. She did not want to do that. But she has so much stuff from that other phone that's just not there anymore, obviously. Um, used to be back in the day you could just go into the Verizon store or whatever, and they would take they would take this cord and plug it into this phone and the other end into the new phone and then just transfer everything. They don't do that anymore, obviously. So that can be super frustrating. So I totally get that. um but yeah, so real quick, back to this, talking about why am I fat, and people come up with all kinds of reasons why they're overweight. Some people say they're fat, that, and again, that fat thing, that's perspective, right? Because somebody may say, "Oh, I'm so fat," and they may be, 5 pounds overweight according to what a book says they should weigh. There might be people that say, "Oh, how can you call yourself fat? I'm really fat." Blah blah blah. Technology is not my friend, bro. You got to not be so hard on yourself. If you feel like you're overweight and you're trying to do something about it, just keep taking. Yeah, I like that. Exactly. Yeah. And so really what I'm getting at is this whole idea of being fat um, is perspective. The reality is we often set weight loss goals, right? We need to get to a certain number. We need to weigh a certain amount. We need to lose a certain amount. I think that's part of accountability, is taking actions to correct. Yeah, exactly. Or what you've done in your case, becoming overweight. Right. You're right. Um, but the goal should not always be chasing a number. The goal should not always be specifically trying to get down to a specific size. Reality is we need to focus um, on health, right? Because when I was kind of doing some thoughts about this or researching this, like literally, guys, go to Google and type in "why am I fat." You're gonna find so many suggestions for what the right thing, the right answer is, I guess, on what you should be talking about. Or can I be healthy and overweight? Can I be, Jeff? You're not wrenched in my channel. I'm just seeing that right now. Sorry, squirrel. Let's give this man a wrench. Who else? Okay, everybody else is good. So back to, and we're back. Um, so can I be thin and unhealthy? The answer is yes. You can be overweight and still healthy. You can be underweight and not healthy, right? But when we come to this, right, we're talking about the Heartman made accountability group, kind of where this came from, how this got here, what this is stemming from, and this is stemming from my weight loss journey, and my desire to help you all as you choose to begin or continue on your own journey. Silent Silver, what's up? Just stopping by, passing by and smashing the like button. Thank you so much. Yeah, so the whole deal behind this, the whole plan behind this was for me to help people as they continue on through their weight loss plan, their weight loss goals, their weight loss journey. And so the relevancy of this question is, why am I fat? It resides right here. We really do have to look at this question. We really do have to maybe unpack or uncover why, right? Maybe you're like me and Mrs. Hartman Made. You're at a place where you're like, I've done all the right things and I'm stuck. You know, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not doing all the right things all the time. I'm not doing the wrong things, honestly. uh, Confess your faults one to another. I ate breaded a part of a breaded chicken tender last night. That's the first time I've eaten a chicken tender in more than a year. Um, that did not make me fat. That did not set me terribly far back, right? But it's not doing the wrong things once in a while that's causing the problem. It's not, for me, it's not doing the right things enough. I personally have paid the gym membership for 2 months now and have not used it the way that it should be used these past 2 months. I have to fix that. I have to make those changes. We've had mornings lately where it's been raining or cold. I haven't gotten out and gotten the walks going. The dogs are neglected in that walking. My wife is neglected in that walking. And these things aren't helping me. But when we stop and say, why am I fat? We have to look at a few things that could be causing that. Mrs. Hartman made nailed it. Busy, busy, right? I'm so busy, busy, dreadfully busy, right? We allow things to come up in our lives, and that's real, guys. I have like a schedule of things I do every stinking day, and they're all relevant. We were at church on Sunday, and our pastor was speaking, and he was talking about being inconvenienced for the gospel's sake. And some of the things that I'm doing on the regular are an inconvenience. I could easily free up my life by stopping them. But if somebody sees Jesus Christ through my actions, that inconvenience is worth it. And so we have to learn to occupy or navigate, right, to work through these things that are inconveniencing us. But coming back to unpacking this question, why am I fat? We have to look at a few different things. Um, so some things that we need to consider is food labeling. Food labeling. Excuse me one second. I gotta shift myself. Sorry, and rub my eye. So, Heather, Mrs. Hartman Maid tells me not to rub my eye like that because I'm gonna stretch out my eyelids. She's probably not wrong. Um, Food labeling, right? So many times we look at a label on a food and it'll say things, it will tell us a story that may or may not be true. And we'll make determinations on what we're consuming based on how we perceive that label. Um, and for me, sometimes I flip it over and I look at the nutrition facts, and I look at the, I don't have a food label in here. um I look at the percentages and the milligrams and all this and that, and if it doesn't have any fat, if it or I'm sorry, if it doesn't have any sugar, and if it doesn't have any carbs, I'm like, yeah, that's a great choice. But I don't always look at the ingredients. Sometimes we look at things, and there's certain grocery stores that have gotten very tricky with this. Um, the USDA organic symbol. It's what's that? Like a circle written in green. And we're literally looking at products and we're like, "Oh, there's that green circle, white and green circle with the letters in it." And it doesn't say always USDA organic. Some other companies have literally just adopted that and they're putting their own words inside of it, but you're looking at it real quick and you're thinking organic, it's good. And it's not even organic. And then other times we just assume, guys, they're, rat, or I'm sorry, snake venom is organic. Okay, just because it's organic doesn't mean it's good for us. And so, we sometimes make our decisions based on our perceptions that we take away from food labels. And so it's important to get educated as you're reading those labels and make decisions based off of those food labels that is going to support your health goals. Maybe you're choosing not to have sugar. Maybe you're choosing to have low sugar. Maybe you don't want any added sugar. Maybe you don't want any carbs. Maybe you want low carbs. Um, Maybe you're carb cycling. And so you have to base this food label um, perception, I guess, of um, and measure that against your actual goals. Okay. And so, food labeling, misreading food labels, misunderstanding food labels, being deceived by food labels can contribute to obesity or weight gain. I stop and I think about the convenient foods, right? They're low cost. We live in a time where everything is expensive, right? Um, I have this silver round. Let me see if I can find it. I keep it out because it's funny to me. Anyways, it says inflation is coming, right? Inflation is not coming, guys. Inflation's here. Um, and so everything costs a lot of money. Everything's expensive. And so sometimes people are making food choices, not necessarily by what's on that label, but what's quick, what's cheap. You guys, you could fill your pantry at the Dollar Tree, okay? $1.25 everything you scan. That doesn't mean you should be eating all that food. But the problem is today is the low cost food, the easy food, the fast food is setting us up for failure. I am 100% supportive of people that need assistance financially. I have no issues with programs that will help these people. Okay, but the grocery stores, the convenience stores, they've made it very easy for folks who are on assistance to consume a lot of food that is unhealthy for them. Um, and so we need to do better at educating people so that food labels really mean something. Um, Another thing, why am I fat? Well, when you're watching TV, okay, maybe this is something you do. You sit down and you watch TV, and you watch commercials. What do you see a lot of? You see a lot of advertising. I was over at the neighbor's house this morning, and one thing he said was, there's hardly ever anything on TV. All it is advertising, and there is so much advertising. And if you look at specific times of day, there's going to be a lot of food advertising, junk food advertising that's going on. Okay. And this is going to attract you. It's going to lure you. It's designed to make you want something. These people are paid to promote their product. They're good at it. If they weren't good at it, someone else would be hired. And sometimes we see a food advertisement, a junk food advertisement, and we're now focused on it. So, hey, why am I fat? Maybe because I'm spending too much time watching TV. So I'm seeing too much junk food advertising. Like, let's be real, guys. 8 o'clock at night, right? You're sitting down with the family, finally relaxing, putting your feet up. all of a sudden Haagen-Dazs comes on, or oh, I want a bowl of ice cream, you know, or something comes on that triggers, and it's like, okay, I'm sitting here, I'm relaxed, I had a hard day, now I want something good to eat. And so maybe there needs to be a change in our behavior so that we're not parked in front of something that's going to um, put thoughts in our head that we can then act on, which is going to be harmful to our weight loss journey. One thing Mrs. Hartman made and I do, we've started this, and we really actually are very faithful to it, is in the evening we don't sit in our living room in most cases. We generally sit at the dining room table, and we get a card game out of sorts, some sort, right? We light a candle, and we play a game together, and we'll do that for a couple hours, and then it'll be time to relax, time to go to bed. And if you're not on your phone and you're not watching TV, right, you're going to sleep better. Um, and at the same time, you're not going to be receiving all of those subliminal messages, we'll call them, right? And so, another thing we've learned is, circadian rhythms, watching that fire dance, even if you're not focusing on it, is going to help you sleep. Sitting by a campfire, think about it. Most people sleep really well. And they attribute it when they're camping, and they attribute it to the fresh air, the outdoors, right? But also that campfire, it has great value to it. So food labeling, junk food advertising, sleep. Why am I fat? Because you are not resting enough. Um, we said it earlier, right? Mrs. Hartman Maid said it earlier. Busy, busy, right? That's the story of our lives. If you don't stop and sleep enough, your body cannot recover. Your body cannot heal. Okay. It literally doesn't have the power to. And so you have to change your patterns, your behaviors, your activities to promote good sleep. Getting out in the morning, going for a walk, watching the sun, right? The sunrise, looking outside, seeing nature, that helps, right? Getting adequate movement, exercise during the day, that helps. Eating the right things throughout the day at the right time of day, that helps. Um, but guys, if you do not take time to sleep, oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, that's true, maybe, right? The Bible says we shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed. It's referring to death, right? We're gonna sleep. That's we will sleep, right? That sleep is death. But guys, if you don't take time to sleep now, you might take that death sleep sooner than you needed to. You need to get adequate rest. Excuse me one second. Sleep. Sleep. Why am I fat? I'm fat because I don't sleep? Maybe. Maybe because you're not sleeping enough. Um, and we kind of started this whole thing out like talking earlier, right? Well, I'm fat because I got a thyroid problem. I'm just born big bone. That's just how I'm wired. Maybe, right? Another reason why you're fat is your genes. And I'm not talking about your wranglers, your rustlers, your riders, whatever you're calling them, right? Not your old navy blues, right? But genetics can have something to do with it. If you come from a family that is normally big, um, yeah, genetics can come into play. But I look at it another way too. Okay. Um, people say, yeah, it's definitely genetics. I mean, look at hi, my name's Shelly. My mom is Shelly, dad's Shelly, sister's Shelly, brother's Shelly. I'm Shelly. Right? We we say, right, I'm chubby, right? My whole family, look at their father, look at their mother. They're all, it might not be genetics that they're all chubby. It could just be a behavior pattern that's carried out through that family. She says, "Oh boy." It could be a behavior um, problem that's carried out through that family. It could be choices that are being made in that house, right? We might all be fat because we're all eating bad. We might all be fat because we're not exercising. We don't have a lifestyle that promotes health. That's very possible. But then again, at the same time, there are plenty of people that are active and they're doing the right things and they're making good choices and they're still on the heavier side. And so maybe genetics can come into play there. But that doesn't have to be a death sentence for you. That doesn't have to be a dead on determination. Mrs. Hartman May was listening to something earlier talking about the medical, system and whatnot, and about how they said less than 2% success rate of I think it's the allopathic or traditional medical system reversing diabetes. Less than 2% of that. And they said it's because they're not promoting diet and lifestyle changes, but rather they're promoting medications to supplement those choices. I was talking with somebody the other day, and they were talking about how their father had a heart attack, and the we were at the church, and his dad had a heart attack, and so he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, okay, you're going to start taking this medicine every day, and that's going to prevent this heart attack from happening again. And he's like, well, what do I need to change so that this doesn't happen again? And the doctor said, well, you don't have to change anything, because that's the medication is going to prevent it from happening again. It's this whole backwards mentality. And this is why we're not reversing things, is because we're not making necessary changes. We're not taking a few minutes to sit down and say, why am I fat? Identify them and then make different choices. And I'm not saying that, in general, I'm not targeting everybody. I'm not using absolutes, right? But the reality is, when somebody does research and they see that less than 2%, success rate of reversing type 2 diabetes in the traditional medical field, that's a hard pill to swallow. And it's a hard pill to swallow because all they want to do is give you a pill to swallow. I have friends, I love them. They're good friends. And they literally just take medication for their diabetes so that they can continue to eat whatever they want, when reality is you could reverse that whole thing. And yes, you won't be able to just eat whatever you want anymore. You have to make some changes, but your body will recover. They don't promote diet and exercise for any ailments, including mental health. It's sad. Pills don't fix all the problems. That's why people take them long term. They aren't forgetting, they aren't getting to the root of the problem. Yep, no problem. She's exactly right. So again, looking at why am I fat? Why am I fat? Well, I'm fat because I'm struggling with reading food labels correctly. I'm fat because I'm putting myself in a place where I'm taking in too much junk food advertising. I'm fat because I'm I'm not getting the sleep that I need. I'm fat because maybe it is a genetic issue and I'm not doing anything to change that. Even if it's a genetic issue, you can break the cycle, you can break the pattern, but it's going to take work on your part. Coupling with sleep sometimes is stress. Stress. Um, how many times have we heard people say, I'm stress eating? I'm stress eating. Sometimes that is the case. Okay. Some people look at food as an escape, right? It, I mean, think about it, right? Most of the time you go out to eat or you're sitting down to enjoy a meal, right? You're generally not necessarily having the meal while you're working out or whatever, right? You're relaxing. Um, and so that puts you in an environment to de-stress, and that does feel good. And let's be real, we have foods that are called comfort foods for a reason, right? They taste good. They make you feel good. On Sunday morning, we were helping out at the fellowship hour at church, and we were getting we had a couples date night at the church the night before, and they provided a lot of sugary treats. And so a lot were left over, and so they were sharing them on Sunday morning. And um, they had an apple pie. Um, and so one of the ladies we were working with, she took the apple pie slice. She took a small slice for herself and she heated it up in the microwave. And she says, "Have we got any vanilla ice cream?" And we did. And so we literally, she indulged in some good old all American comfort food, right? Makes you feel good, takes you to a special place. Maybe you remember having apple pie with ice cream with mom and dad at a restaurant, or at a family picnic. It's comfort food. It's everywhere. It doesn't take away the stress, it takes your mind off of the stress. And so what I'm getting at with all of this is, if you are someone that is living a stressful life, and maybe sometimes we don't realize it. People ask me all the time, "Are you stressed?" I'm not really stressed. I'm busy. Okay. And sometimes the busyness can overwhelm me. Um, but stress in your life is not healthy. Do a Google search on that, right? The negative health effects of stress. I'm going to type it in real quick. Negative health effects of stress. Negative, hold on a second here. Negative health health effects of stress. Boom, it comes up automatically. Let me do this. Watch this. Watch this. Share screen. Negative health effects of stress. Boom. Immediately it shows up, guys. Stress can play a part in problems such as headaches, high blood pressure, heart problems, diabetes, skin conditions, asthma, arthritis, depression, and anxiety. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, declared stress a hazard of the workplace, right? Immediately, right? The effects of stress on your body, stress symptoms, effect on your body and behavior, stress effects on a body, negative health effects of stress, impact of stress and body function, impact effects of stress. Chronic stress can cause negative health effects on your mood, immune system, and digestion system, and cardiovascular health. Stress is horrible for you, guys. Stress will kill you. And if you cannot get rid of you cannot not you cannot you not if you cannot get rid of stress by eating. You simply distract yourself by eating. What you need to do, why am I fat? Well, I'm fat because I'm always stress eating. You need to stop, reevaluate, what can I do to change these things that are stressing in my life? What can I change? What can I eliminate? Oh, nobody wants to eliminate. I was talking with a person across the street the other day, because I had to. They had a notary come over. I had to do something for them, and so the uh, the notary had been, kind of on a weight loss journey of her own, and she says, "I don't like to lose weight." Um, I don't like to say lose weight. I like to say eliminate, because when you say you lose something, you sometimes have that thought process that um, you're going to look for it, to find it again. And when I was going through that thing with her, she said, I need two forms of ID. And so I had my first form, which was my driver's license, and the second one was my pistol permit. And she's like, I can't believe they have your weight on here. My pistol permit is from 2013 or 12 or something. It's from forever ago. And I said, "Oh, well, that's not my weight anymore." And she said, she she showed it to me, and she's like, "Well, I was gonna say, yeah, you definitely don't look like that." And I was like, "Oh, I was 50 pounds or 40 pounds heavier than that at my highest weight." Um, and so, a lot has changed, and I got this picture though to remind me where I was, and I can stop and think back to the time in my that time in my life, and I definitely had stress. And What do you do when you have stress? You avoid it. When you're you enjoying this. No kidding, right? It is cold outside. Um, um, when you have stress, you find things to do to avoid it, and oftentimes avoiding it involves overeating, eating food you shouldn't. Why am I fat? I'm fat because I'm having trouble reading food labels. I'm fat because I'm doing things that are putting me in a place where I'm watching too much junk food advertising. I'm fat because I'm not sleeping enough. I'm fat because my genes, right? I'm fat because I have too much stress. I can tell you why I was almost 100 pounds fatter. Okay. The fat and sugar content in your foods, let's not even say fat content, sugar and carb content in my foods, not paying attention to it, was killing me. It was literally killing me. Um, simply by paying attention to that, and for in my case, removing someone's here. I don't know if you hear the dogs or not. Simply by removing, in my case, sugar and carbs, I literally began to lose fat, like fall off. Okay. Um, it is incredible to me that, like cigarettes and alcohol, you gotta be of a certain age and you gotta have an ID to get it, right? Because it's bad for you. And I we could split hairs about this thing, but guys, it overall, all in all, it's not healthy. Okay. Neither is sugar. Why don't we get carded, you know, when we go to the store and buy sugar? It's bad for you. It's a controlled substance. It's hurting people. We are fat today. I looked at a statistic, and I don't know if I have it up on my computer anymore. Um, I don't. But it was talking. It looked at 1995 and it looked at 2010, and it looked at the obesity rate in the United States alone. Okay, um, the percentage in the most concentrated areas of the country for obesity was less than 18% in 1995. In 2010, the concentrated areas that had the most obesity was greater than 30%. It wasn't less than, it said greater than 30%. We have a pandemic in this country, and it is because of sugar, not because all that other stuff. Not, wearing a mask is not going to stop this pandemic. Wearing a mask is not going to prevent this thing from spreading. We have to get control on the consumption of sugar in this country. You know, there are there are things, that we don't use in our country and we send it to other countries, right? And these other countries have more sense in their head not to consume them because they're dangerous. And yet we're giving Kool-Aid to children in their bottles. Like, guys, we are killing ourselves. We are killing each other. A gun is not the problem that for this one that we're talking about, right? Gang violence is not the problem for this one we're talking about. Sugar is the culprit. We have to get control of sugar. And for me, sugar and carb content of everyday foods is what was adding to my waist and my weight. We have to get control over that. Portion sizes, right? If you're not going to pay attention to what you eat, you have to pay attention to how much you're eating. You know, when you go to a restaurant, right? You're angry if your portion size is what? Too small. I spent how much and you're giving me this, right? So we're trained to think we need more. We want more. We need more bang for our buck. We need more value, right? We buy a value meal. We get a super size fries. We get a biggie a biggie bag. We get all of these things, right? Because we want more. But if you're not going to pay attention to what you eat, you have to pay attention to how much you eat, because portion size is going to add to your waste and your weight. Why am I fat? Maybe you're eating too much, likely of the wrong stuff. Medical conditions, right? Or medications, right? How many times do you see on the long list of side effects for a medication, um, weight gain? Guys, maybe you're gaining weight because the medication makes you hungry. Maybe you're gaining weight because something's not that medication is making something not work properly in your body, and so now you're not able to metabolize in an effective manner. um, Medication and medical conditions can add to your weight. So guys, I'm going to be honest with you. um, you do not need a piece of paper that says RX at the top to fix all of these problems. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. All I'm telling you is getting up and going for a walk can fix a lot of things. Um, you know, Extra activity. Why do you think the doctor asks you how active are you when they're going through their list of things in the beginning of your appointment in a traditional medical office, right? Because activity has everything to do with your health. Let me take this banner down. You guys know what my email address is. How do I fix that? I don't know how to fix it. Show display names. Gone. Okay. And we're back. Yes, try to stay as active. You have to, guys. Activity fixes a lot of things. You need to. What do they say? When you stop moving, you start dying, right? When you look at nature and you just look at an animal, you can tell when an animal is thriving based on its activity. And when an animal is going to die of natural causes, right, rather than somebody taking it out, right, or getting hit by a car, or in most cases they go somewhere and they lay down and they die. You you cannot go lay down and die. What does he say? Jeff says, doctor and them told me take 2 days bed rest. I have and took 1 day bed rest. um when I needed to, and I'm up doing things that I would be doing. Gotta throw my phone on the charger. Adam, great live. Catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for stopping by, David. Appreciate you. Um, you got to keep moving. Activity is key. Um, so what's the disadvantage of being overweight? What's the risk, right? What's at stake? Because if you're anything like me, sometimes you got to understand what your risks are, or what your potential cost is, to weigh out whether or not it's worth making a change. um, so I searched health effects of being overweight and obesity. And so this is from the Centers from Disease Control and Prevention. Okay. For what it's worth, this is what the CDC tells us the health effects of overweight and obesity is. It says people who have overweight or obesity compared to those with healthy weight are at an increased risk for many serious diseases and health conditions. And these include, okay. And so I'm going to move this right here so that I can read it and still look at you all. All right. These include, the first one says all causes of death, mortality, right? So guys, just so you know, the CDC says if you're overweight and obese or obese, you run the risk of dying. Duh. I wonder how much they got paid to print that. Anyways, this is not bash the CDC hour. We'll do that on my next live. Um, high blood pressure. High blood pressure in a lot of cases is related to your weight. Um, and I'm gonna skip some of these. I'm kind of talk about ones that are highlighting, but just kind of go through a few of them. But really, I'm trying to show you what's at stake if you choose to not answer the question, why am I fat, or answer the question, why am I fat, and then just not do anything about it. What's at stake? Well, the CDC tells us you could die, maybe death. High blood pressure. High blood pressure is also a lot of times, something that runs in people's family. They say hypertension is one of the silent killers. Plenty of people have it and don't realize it. Skinnier, thinner, leaner people can have it. A lot of that can have to do with stress. And so, again, activity and lifestyle changes, diet and lifestyle changes are key to solving this obesity thing. But reality is, we can solve some of this hypertension thing if you eliminate some stress in your life, possibly as well. Um, type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes. This I 100% agree with because I lived it. I 100% had type 2 diabetes because of what I was consuming. I was able to literally, and I can show you my blood work, reverse that because of dietary changes and lifestyle changes that I made. I was at the doctor's office last week or the week before, the traditional allopathic doctor. And she was looking at my blood work. She was reviewing things with me. And then, she said, "Oh, you don't take insulin anymore." Or whatever. We talked about that. She's like, "Oh, so you had diabetes." She didn't say you have diabetes. She literally said, based off what she saw, you had diabetes. I was able to reverse it. And she asked me how. I said, because I changed my diet and I got more active. And she agreed with me. That does not happen enough. Type 2 diabetes is a risk you take by not addressing the question of why am I fat? Am I obese? Am I overweight? Very true. I think life is way stressful, and if you let it eat at you, it will eat you alive. That's a fact. A fact. The Bible says, my screen. Okay, my screen froze for a second. The Bible says in 1 Peter 5 and verse 7. And I know this isn't Bible hour, but I wouldn't be Adam if I didn't bring this up, right? I wouldn't be true to myself. The Bible says, casting all your care upon him. Why? For he careth for you. The Bible tells us not to hold on to things that stress us, not to hold on to things that overwhelm us, not to hold on to things that are too much. It tells us to cast them to him. In American Sign Language, and I really learned this from a deaf pastor, and he taught us, the American Sign Language, the sign for cast is like this: you take a fist and you throw it away. Okay, casting all your care upon him. Why? Because he cares for you, right? Casting, just like that. Take your fist. Do this with me, guys. Take your fist, throw it away. Cast. Okay. So casting is only casting if you do what? If you let go. Because if I go like this, that's the sign not for cast anymore. That's the sign for hold. For hold. Okay. You cannot cast if you do not let go. You cannot cast if you do not let go. Okay? That's huge as far as dealing with this thing of stress. You cannot get rid of it. You cannot release it. You cannot if you don't let go. In any situation in your life, you have to open your hands and let it go, or else you are still holding on to it. Okay. So, going back to that thing, it's so important that we let it go. That's going to help stress. That's going to help your overall health, potentially a hypertension situation. Type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease. Why? Because of what you're consuming, what you're eating. Why am I fat? You have to make some diet and lifestyle changes to prevent these type of things. Stroke, right? Unmanaged blood pressure can cause a stroke. Poor health, over being overweight, being obese, could lead to a stroke. Gallbladder disease, breakdown of your cartilage or bones within a joint, osteoarthritis, sleep apnea, and breathing problems. Most people that are overweight likely have obstructive sleep apnea. That's something, again, by losing a bunch of weight, I was able to beat. Ask Mrs. Hartman Maid. I don't snore anymore. I don't have all the neck that I used to have. Now it's just skin. Um, but I don't have all that neck falling back when I'm trying to lay down and sleep. I'm able to sleep better. What do we say? One of the things we needed to change. Why are we not healthy? Why are we fat? It's likely has something to do with the amount of sleep we're getting. We can change that. We can't sleep well if we have sleep apnea. If you have obstructive sleep apnea and you're not managing it, you're not going to sleep good. But if you lose some weight, you likely could reverse the effects of that. So, just wanted to get on with you guys for a little while today talking about this topic. Why am I fat? Right? Um, you know, identifying some things. We can't fix something if we don't know why it's happening. It's like that with auto mechanics, troubleshooting, right? Anything like that. We cannot address something if we don't understand why it's happening. If we understand why it's happening, we can go back and change things that are making it happen. And that's the same thing with our health, with our weight. And so if we stop for a second and we analyze, we gather information, we diagnose, we troubleshoot, what are the things happening that are making me fat? And now, what do I need to do to change that? And so I just wanted to spend a little bit of time with you. I really appreciate those of you that have popped in, the conversation that you've contributed to, just having a little bit of interaction. That's always enjoyable for me. I appreciate you all. Hopefully, you will leave with some self reflection. Maybe you don't want to call yourself fat. Maybe you want to be fluffy. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be fat or fluffy. I want to be healthy. So I pray that you guys have a great day. I love you all, and I will see you on the next one. God bless you, and do me a favor and make a difference every day.